fade. When they're spinning that rear wheel and they're standing up on their pegs and they've got a handful of front brake, keeping that bike from launching forward because they want to, drift around and do all the stunts they're doing or whatever. You can't have that tire let go of it. The traction of that front tire is everything.
Yeah, it's paramount.
Yeah, it's everything. And Shinko, fills that need.
Well, the other one of the things I got a question with Tom is like, okay, well, this is great, but what happens when I need a new tire? And I'm like, what do you mean? They're right here. They're in stock. Yeah, there's 9 of them, 9 plus in every warehouse.
Yeah, it's not a weird, hard to find thing.
No,
yeah, like some of the other tires from Thailand and stuff are very hard to find.
Was it hard?
Nobody's gonna have them. They're not distributed. This is Shinko is a nationally distributed brand.
And try to find a 130 for an 18-inch. Guys do custom wheels on their bikes. And
sure.
Try to find a 130 or a 150 on an 18-inch rim. After you did custom wheels on your 02 Fat Boy, and they're hard to find. But was it hard with the Shinko folks? Was it hard to convince them to make a whole new model of tire?
No, what I was lucky to do is I partnered up with Western Power Sports, who is their exclusive distributor in the United States. So Western went to them as their best customer and said, we really want to partner up with Yaffe and make this great tire. So we got off on the wrong foot. I gave them some parameters and some specifics and sent them some dimensions, and they quickly wanted to get a tire done, and they ended up jumping the gun before I had approved the tires, and they made a mold. Yeah, and the mold's expensive. They sent me a tire with a low profile, and it was flat, and it wasn't what I wanted. So I went back and said, no, I didn't ask you to make this tire. This isn't what I wanted. And I ended up designing the tire in a modeling program, and I actually 3D printed sections of the tire and sent it to them and said, this is what I want. This is how I want it to be shaped. This is what I want it to look like. So they were mad at me. Within 2 months, they sent me a slick version of this. So I was able to test the radius and test the fit and see how it was going to fit. And then probably 2 months after, I had a working prototype, which was a handmade tire, but it was everything that this tire is. And then with that, I was able to, then I had to build fenders and make things fit, which took another 6 months, making the tooling for this fender, and then stamping these with 14 gauge steel and getting all those things worked out. And then the wheel program.
Yeah,
took a while too. We didn't have wheels for a while. Inconsistent we were with wheels, and then finally California. It's funny. I'm a long time friend, and we just never connected on that wheel level. And I went somewhere with him. He was like, "I'll just have you make your wheels." And I was like, "You want to?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, great!" And so we went right down there, and now they make all our wheels. And we've coming through a little pandemic trials.
Kit. We make a kit for 13 and earlier. We make a kit for 14 and later. There's 6 or 7 wheel styles to choose from, and then Metal Sport has a whole custom line of wheels that they do themselves, and they can make any of those wheels in SRT too if you want to special order directly from Metal Sport. You can do that as well. You can go to their website.
The wheel designs are not really a hard sell, but what I thought was ingenious is on a stock set of triple trees, you have that, I call it the wasted space.
Right.
Where so, anybody can buy one of these kits and crack your code, but the fact that you moved it out just enough, but everything stock still fits, right? So the fairing, the speedo nacelle, the street glide fairing, it all still fits after you made the trees just wider in order to fit the SRT because I'm not a fan of the cutout cowbells, the cutout fenders. I
don't like the fenders when they're cut here. It takes so much. Your fender lends a lot of stiffness and rigidity to your forks, and you cut all that material away to make clearance for your sliders, and now your fender's very flexible. You can twist it. So guess what? You can twist your fork too. So when you're on it hard in the turn, you don't want your fork flexing. Yeah, you want it to hold its line. You don't want it creating a new line for you. That's what's called fade, right? And there's nothing worse than being in a hard turn and all of a sudden you just see that double yellow.
you're just creeping towards it, right? And you're like, I'm doing everything I can. I can't give you any more throttle. I'm leaning as far as I can, yet you keep fading. You're fading because your fork is taking a different line, right, than your handlebars are telling you.
Yep.
Right? It's the axle's turning itself. Yeah,
Right.
And that's bad.
Yeah, not
fade,
good.
Fade is tough.
And that's when I see the guys. Yeah, I had this one customer who was adamant that he wanted to pull this front fender off of this 05 road. Like, I'm just going to run it with no front fender. I'm like, you're not going to like it.
Nope.
You're not.
They don't realize it. It makes
you're
a
not
big
going to
difference.
like it. And it, sure enough, he did. He took it off, rode it around for about a day, and he's like, yeah, I need to put that back on. But, and then, we usually do it where we use tri-glide tubes longer, and then we put in the Axo, Legend Axo, and it's a perfect combination.
That was something that Jesse developed for us. I worked with him for about 6 months doing that, and he makes a specific Axio cartridge for the SRT, and they're wonderful. The dampening and road leveling that they provide additionally to the handling of the tire is amazing.
Well, I remember that.
We
I
use a lot
remember
of-
when that you took that one over there and said, "Make me an Axo."
I left it. Yeah, I left it with
Yeah.
him for a couple months, and he ripped it around the canyons here. You guys have the best canyons in the country, so yeah, he had the best proving ground. And then he brought it to me at the drag show, and I rode it home. Yeah, in Wisconsin. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. I don't know. I'm a fan. And you won over my wife, which no easy task.
Got it.
I mean, because she's ridden on everything with me, right? She's ridden on 77 FLHs and FXRs and Dynas and Softails and everything. And this, I think part of her disappointment every time I build a SRT and it sells is because she's just worried. She wants to make sure the next one's going to be an SRT as well. First thing she said when we walked out to the next road glide, she said, "We're going to SRT this." Yes, my love.
Nice.
We are going to SRT it.
I love Charlie.
Well, I mean, no, you did that. I mean, it's not that I don't want to say she's scared, but she just, motorcycling isn't as long in her history as it is to, us, right? And so for her to get on a bike and say, okay, we're going to go to the Bighorns, she wants to feel confident.
You
She
got to
wants
be
feel
comfortable,
safe.
yeah. Otherwise, it's not fun. You don't want to be nervous. You don't want to. Yeah, there's nothing. There's no fun in motorcycling if it's filling you with anxiety.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not the point. So
We probably should have wiped this fender down, Dusty, before we did this video. But no, it's. I'm excited. I'm excited. One of the most gratifying things for me is back in the day when you build a frame up custom bike, and the customer would take it for that first ride, and you just see them grinning ear to ear, and like we did with we had 06 Softail that we turned into a Captain America bike, and that guy was really paranoid that it was not going to handle well. And I'm like, it's just math, man. It's just math. And so the trail numbers on that bike are perfect, and it handles like a dream. And he was like, he's like, I can't believe it. He goes, I love how it handles. It handles perfectly. So I love doing these conversions, and then watching that customer roll out of the parking lot the first time, and then getting that call saying, "Oh my God,
it's a great call.
Yeah, it's a great call." They just love it. I mean, one guy from Colorado, we did it on his 14th Street glide. We did one, and he took off, and a couple days went by, and I didn't hear anything from him. I started getting nervous. I'm calling him. Well, he was tied up with work and whatnot, but he was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't." But yeah, no, Jason, phenomenal, best handling bike I've ever ridden. I can't believe it. Every bike I own from here on out will be an SRT. You got more of those kits? I'm like, yeah,
That's great.
Yep, there's a bunch of them down in Phoenix. We can get